We are live, guys. There has been so much laughter and giggles. James is like, what the hell am I doing here with these two crazy women? Seriously. So my name is Libby Lee, and I'm tuning in from Eastern Western Australia with the kangaroos and the great white sharks and the really bad internet. So if I drop out during this call, Cindy's going to take the reins. But it's a really important conversation that we need to be having today with these two. They are the dream team. They do have the amazing DNA program, and they're all about bridging the energetics of business with the strategy of business. So welcome, Cindy Van Arnam, James Gardner. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here as always.
As always with you, Double L. Come on.
I'm glad you called me Double L and not kangaroo. Thank you.
That's behind the scenes.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Oh, it's not now. Now tell me, how did you guys start working together?
Well, so James was a guest on my podcast, Rebel Radio, back in June. And immediately I was like, there's something about this guy. I need to know more. So I just started bugging him. And then we actually met in person. Just started bugging him. James. But we kind of chatted back and forth all summer long, and then decided to meet in person in September. And in September, I realized that I needed to show him what I do with numerology, because I always say numerology is better experienced than explained. And I know, because I had already previewed James's chart, that he has the arrow of skepticism in his chart. So I knew right away he's going to need to see proof. So I did just that and blew his mind. And so from there, we spent a day together really deep diving into the strategy for my business. And his brain just blew my mind, what he can do with strategy. And we put a full plan in place in less than 24 hours. And 2 months later, I had my first $10,000 launch. Now, granted, it wasn't what he told me to do because I don't play by the rules, but the strategy helped me get there because I had never had that kind of strategy in my business before. So James was unable to partner with me until January. And it was literally like January 1st. I'm like, so what are we doing?
I know. What are we doing?
That's my side of the story anyway.
You're like, I can't get this Cindy off my back. What's going on?
I was.
What's
bugging
your
her.
version of events, James?
Yeah, I was bugging her too. Let's be honest. I think actually, Cindy, I was the first male on your podcast, was I not?
Yes, you were. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So we hit it off, and I may have a skeptic side of me. However, I'm very objective, very open. So I have a science kind of background, and so I love proof, and I love when things are cemented in science somehow, some way. And so it was something about the work that she was doing, and you know, we just kept in touch, and we grew closer. And yeah, that time we spent in person was a doorway into. We knew somehow, some way we were going to work together, as well as, I mean, we were just mutually supporting each other. And I think actually, Cindy, you had me on as another guest, I think, right? In your second season or something.
So damn good. I had to have him twice.
So we just kind of kept in touch. And then, when things transitioned in my career and I really decided to go out on my own, like Cindy was the first person I thought of. I'm like, okay, joint partnership. What can we do? Let's rock this numerological kind of mindset with my strategical lens, and let's see what we can come up with. Yeah. And plus we have a lot of fun.
Amazing. And yeah, you do. And I love it. I love being a part of it. It's amazing. So tell me, because what you do isn't typical business strategy. I've been watching you for a while. You do a lot of posts around conscious warrior. So you have this new edge on the strategy that you share anyway. So is that a part of you and your personal journey, or is that something that you've learned along the way, or is it a new part of the bridge?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely something that's come to me in my journey. And I was on an interview right before this, and I said that I actually didn't step into my true potential until I embraced the feminine side of me and really maximize that.
Yeah.
And that has been my secret sauce. And so the conscious warrior kind of brand for me is really leading with love in everything I do. That's how I show up. That's how I connect with my inner child every day and bring him to work and just lead from a place of selfless love. And so because of that, the way that I look at business and business performance is through an energetic flow, grace mindset, and how I do it. And I'm disciplined. I'm committed. I set objectives. I have a strategy. I do all that, but I do it with a lightness and a flow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Really beautiful. So tell us a little bit about this partnership that you've got going now. So you've got this bridge between the strategy, and Cindy, you are a friggin' master at rhythm. That is one gift that you have given me over the last few years, is understanding my own rhythm, and not only personally, but when we're doing this kind of work, when we're on a mission, when we're living and working our purpose, our lives are our business. So understanding not only our personal rhythm, but also the consciousness and the energy of the business and the work that we do has its own rhythm as well. So how are you guys bridging? What does that look like?
So good. This is like... This is something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I couldn't quite figure out all the moving pieces. And then James showed up, and I was like, there's the missing piece. So it was, for me, understanding our own energetic rhythm is so key. And many of the people watching this, you've seen me around for a while. I've had this mountain in front of my business for years. And it was just in the last couple of years that all of a sudden the mountain started dissipating. And it was because I landed into this rhythm for who I am and how I best show up in my business. And understanding that there are times where you need to go and get shit done and hit the ground running and focus, and you're doing more of the masculine energy pieces. But there's only a certain amount of time that you can maintain that for. And then it's time to pause and step back and land back into the feminine of receiving. If you're just going, doing, when do you ever have time to receive anything? Right? So there's this energetic pattern that we've discovered through numerology and understanding throughout your year, throughout your week, throughout your month, on how to do the things and move the needle forward in your business without burning yourself out, without being exhausted. Many of you know my story where I was working 7 days a week, 15-hour days, burning the candle at both ends, living PayPal to PayPal, and suffering. And my relationships were falling apart. My health was falling apart. And then I learned this rhythm, and I was like, well, what I'm doing is not working. So let's try this. And now it's incredible. It's incredible. And I know when to push pause, and I know when to press go. And I think having a strategy in place that's flexible and energetic, that's in flow with that rhythm, freaking game changer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how, it's so important and so enlightening, because the old way of doing business is that push, and sometimes we push so much, we fill up so much of the space that we don't even give ourselves the chance to receive. We don't give ourselves the chance to celebrate and appreciate and reflect, because it's all focused on the metrics and the numbers. I've been down that burnout road as well, and it's just not fun. You can't live your purpose from that from that place and that energy.
Yeah, busy's a badge of honor.
I'd love
right?
to hear your yes, the old way has
The
been.
old way.
I mean, living and working from the caravan from somewhere in Australia with really bad internet, that's working for me right now. I'm very happy with that. So James, tell me a little bit about how you match the strategy with Cindy's rhythm knowledge and advice.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really fun for me as well, because what Cindy's alluding to is really it's a permission slip. So by understanding our own unique makeup and what our energy, because the three of us on this call, well, actually, Libby, you and I think are 11s, right? Yeah. So we're cut from similar cloth, but we all have our different energetic flow day in and day out, year in and year out. So if we understand that, that gives us a permission slip, as Cindy was saying, to put your foot on the gas, take your foot off the gas, course correct, take a few steps backwards, whatever it is. The thing, though, is if we take this information, we get clear on whether it's personal growth. It doesn't have to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. At the end of the day, everyone is in the business of themselves. Everyone is their own personal brand. And so what are our goals? What are our objectives? Getting a chessboard with all the pieces on there and then saying, okay, this is our individual rhythm. Now, how can we maximize that with the natural rhythm and flow of the calendar, of the days of the week, of the months, of the year? So when we're setting macro goals and then reverse engineering back to micro goals, right? Week in, week out, day in and day out, we can strategically place those pieces on the chessboard that align with the natural rhythm of that day as it pertains to us and as it pertains to our unique rhythm. To me, if you talk about a magic pill, it's a pretty damn close magic pill, because it's designed, it speaks to only us. It's designed for us, and the three of us will have our own unique blueprint to achieve whatever we want to achieve.
Yeah. It sounds so peaceful and easeful when you kind of have that. It's like you've described the chess game. It's like the roadmap to soulful success. That's what I'm all about. But it is that step by step by step.
It is. And Cindy and I talked about this the other day. Just like water, right? Why is water the attainable thing that we want? Because it flows and it knows when to cause friction, and then it knows when to deviate, knows when to kind of back up and continue its flow. And that's what we're doing. And then you sprinkle in some fun, some units of joy in there. Everyone wants things to be easier. Everyone wants things to be effortless. Yes, work is still work, but you still can have fun and create a playground mentality around it. And that's what I'm all about.
Absolutely. That's what you're about, Cindy, too. So what's the main thing that you would love to share with this audience today? So a lot of the people watching, they're going to be in the kind of alternate entrepreneurial space. They might have their own business with healing modalities, energy work. What would you love to share with them so that they kind of have a key takeaway from this chat? Know your rhythm, I'm guessing.
Yeah, know your rhythm. Well, maybe we should talk about what it is that we're actually moving out into the world. And James and I are going to play a game. This is how we work together. It's so much fun. I remember we had our team meeting last week, and I had said to James, because I was looking at his chart, and said, you need to play more. And so we spent an hour and a half together. I think we went down probably 15 different rabbit holes in that meeting. It was not a business meeting, But by the end of it, we had all of our pieces in place and we knew exactly what we were doing. And we talked about aliens and all sorts of fun things. So that's how James and I do work together. That's how I see everybody being able to do work together, is just show up and play together, have fun. And lo and behold, your rhythm just makes things happen. So we're going to start off with a 6-week coaching program. This is not a group program. This is private one-on-one coaching with both James and myself. And so we're going to start off the moment that you get signed up. You're going to get access to a channeled reading from me, where I'm going to dive into the foundations of your personality. You're going to get a document that gives you your ruling number, as well as a channeled reading that'll be a voice recording. You can refer back to it time and time again, because there's always going to be little tidbits in there. And then from there, take it away, James.
And behind door number 2 is a 90-minute session with Coach James, where we look at and assess what Cindy's laid out. And then we say, okay, so knowing that, how does that land for you? What limiting beliefs may pop up because of that? Or are there anyways? What roadblocks are in our way? Let's get clear on what our goals are, right? And you heard me talk about that chessboard. We need to open that chessboard up and start just putting pieces on there, just to understand what we're going to eventually strategize for after we go back to Cindy.
Behind door number 3. And before I move behind door number 3, because we like suspense too, I want to answer this question from Facebook user. Sorry, I don't know who you are. How do I recognize what my rhythm is? Your rhythm is based on your date of birth, and there is a very specific calculation that needs to be done in order to determine what that is. And maybe I'll do, before we end this Zoom, this isn't Zoom, before we end this I will give a brief overview of what that rhythm is, so that there's an understanding there. All right. Behind door number 3, we're going to dive into your rhythm. So you're going to get a 60-minute call with me, where I'm going to teach you how to calculate day energy, so that you're not just like 6 weeks of numbers and then you don't know what to do with it after that. I want you to have lifetime access to this. I don't own numerology, so I'm going to teach you how to do that so that you can map out your calendar for as long as you like. I'm going to teach you that, and how to understand your own biorhythm based on your date of birth. Then I'm going to dive into the quantum numerology pieces, and I'm going to share with you what your karmic contract is and what your personal rhythm is based on that karmic contract. And I'll talk about what that is here in a minute. But before I go there, James, behind door number 4.
And then we'll come back to strategy. So this energetic strategy, 90 minutes again with me. Now we start to look at that calendar rhythm. We take the next 30 days. Now we're crystal clear on what's the energy and flow of those days. And then we can start taking those pieces, those action items that we want to achieve, and start slotting them in there intelligently to create ease and flow with how that's going to roll out for you. So you're moving towards your objectives with the most flow possible. And we're not done there, because then there's one more coaching session.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. And it's us. You get the dream team. 90 minutes of Cindy and James at the end to kind of tie it all together. Come at it from both angles. Make sure you're set up for success. You have what you need, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Love it. This is so exciting.
Amazing. That's a good blend. That's a really good blend. Masculine, feminine, flow, strategy, rhythm, action. Nice.
Yeah,
nice, guys. I love this.
Recipe. Yeah,
just tell me. Yep. How can people get in touch with you to chat more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to drop the link to sign up right away in the comments of all these videos, because there's 3 of them happening at the same time. I love technology. And you can always You can always just message me on Facebook. You can also message James on Facebook. Just get a hold of us if you have questions. I'm more than happy to hop on a call with you and talk you through it. You can't get access to coaches like James and myself for this price, $397 US. There is a payment plan as well. It's unheard of for coaches to do this at this price. And what I love about it most is the accessibility, because I want the world to understand their own rhythm so that we can stop fighting and stop pushing and stop forcing and stop climbing the bloody mountain, because there is no mountain.
Mm-hmm. Preach, sister, preach.
That's peanuts, guys. Peanuts.
Yeah. So let me give a brief overview. Let me give a brief overview of what the rhythm feels like, because I know that I'm gonna have questions about that. Like, what are you even talking about, Cindy? So on New Year's Eve, we land into the next year, and collectively all of us think we should be setting New Year's intentions. But if you were born in any month other than January, it's the wrong time, and you're interrupting your own rhythmic pattern based on your quantum numerology. So what we do is we take a look at your date of birth, and when you are born, that's your new year. And you land into an energy influenced by Mercury. So now you're brainstorming, you're thinking, you're wondering, what am I going to achieve this year? What is it that I really want to do? And you're not necessarily landing into clarity until about 54 days later. So I always joke around in Mercury energy. I got Post-it notes all over the house. The whiteboards come out, like, don't come over here. It's like, what? The beautiful mind. It's just scribbles all over the place. And that's what Mercury energy is meant for, to really feel into what am I willing to commit to this year. Then you land into Venus energy. And Venus energy is about calling in the relationships or resources that you need in order to achieve that thing. Now, each of these seasons is about 54-ish days. There's some pretty magical calculations that need to happen behind the scenes. But that's 100 days of not necessarily taking action, but deciding what you want to do and committing to it, and then calling in resources. You're also going to be highly triggered by all of the resources in your life that don't match the intention. So you're going to have some forgiveness to do and some clearing out to do, and you're going to have to say goodbye to some things during Venus. So knowing that in your strategy, not the time for massive action. You can take action in all of them, but not the time for massive action. Then you hit Mars energy, and now—
Can I just add?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. You can feel like your world's falling apart, because it is clearing the pathway for this new stuff that you are about to start creating. So knowing the rhythm and recognizing, oh, thank you so much for clearing this obstacle out of my way. This doesn't need to come forward with me. Having that understanding takes so much of the angst and pain and suffering away from it. So that's what you've helped me with, Cindy, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a time and a space for everything, right? And if you recognize that in Venus and you're just like, oh, thanks, bye, thanks, bye, thanks, bye, then you land into Mars energy and you are ready for action. There is no more planning. There's no more thinking. There is no more, am I really going to do this? You just do it. And to quote Nike, and you just go and move the needle forward. So Mars energy is highly aggressive, very masculine energy. Go, 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 get shit done. That's what that energy is for. But it's only 54 days-ish long. And then you pause and you come into Jupiter energy, which is the feminine receiving. So you've moved the needle forward. You've done the thing. You've taken action. Now it's time to sit back and receive from life. You're still taking action, but it's more leisurely. You're going out for lunch with the girls. You are maybe traveling. You're experiencing more wealth in your world. It is that energy of spending more time in the sun, lounging by the beach. Libby. Libby's just in a perpetual Jupiter right now.
And I'm literally in Jupiter right now.
Yes, you are. Libby's the prime example of what Jupiter energy looks like at this moment. Yes. Then Saturn comes along. Now, Saturn can be easy or Saturn can be a frying pan to the head, depending on how you navigated Mars. So Mars energy if you spend time in Mars planning some more, or procrastinating, or in fear, or oh, I don't know if I can really do this, Saturn's going to come along and give you a chance to course correct, as otherwise known as a frying pan to the head. It's going to be painful if you didn't take action in Mars. But if you did, then you just keep going. Saturn is also a masculine energy, but it's holding you accountable to that commitment you made to yourself during Mercury. So it gives you a second chance if you didn't take the action then. That's really all it is. It's not painful because it wants you to suffer. It's painful because you didn't do it when you said you were going to do it. That's really what it is. And then Uranus and Neptune come along. Uranus and Neptune are really about leaning into the unknown and trusting. And I almost notoriously, even from you, Libby, who's been doing this for a couple of years, get this message of, why do I feel so foggy? I had such clarity and now I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Uranus and Neptune, baby. Because it's all about, first and foremost, Uranus energy is about reflecting on the year before, what the lessons you've learned, the things you've done. Did I achieve the thing I set out to achieve this year? And leaning in to absolute unknown and trusting that the universe has your back. And then you land into Neptune, which is more forward thinking. Am I willing to dream bigger? What's coming next? But when we're in that energy and it's very much unknown, we're searching for the answers and it's not coming. And it's 54 days of us going, what just happened, right? So when you know that, then you can say, oh, right, Neptune energy, right. It's only my job to dream. And so during Neptune energy, daydream, spend time in the hammock, daydreaming. That's your job. And then you move back into Mercury and guess what? Post-it notes everywhere and the beautiful mind begins again.
Yeah, and you can see how it's in your permission, right? It's that permission, right? If you know that, then you can give yourself permission to be foggy, and to sit in the hammock and do that. So it's amazing, yeah. Sorry, Libby.
Absolutely. And you can be like, oh my God, everything is flowing perfectly because I'm not meant to have clarity right now, and I'm meant to. The hammock scenario is the silent contemplation. There was one period, I think it was 2019, where I spent 6 weeks sitting in a chair in the corner, staring out the window with all of my decks of cards and burning sage and sitting with my crystals and just like, oh my God, what is my life all about? It was this whole, dark night of the soul moment, but that was the rhythm of what I had to figure out so that I could really align myself with my purpose for the next year. And then the ideas started flowing once I hit Mercury again. So yeah, it's a gift to know this stuff.
It really is.
Yeah,
it is. And imagine looking at it from a year perspective, and then adding strategy to exactly what Cindy was describing. Right? I mean, most businesses, if we're talking businesses, most businesses work off a year. Like, these are the year objectives. And then they break it down into quarters. Well, what better way to do that, knowing the rhythm of the person underneath that, right? The entrepreneur or the person, right? So
love it so much. So
absolutely. Good. Absolutely. So the program is called
Divine Numerological Architecture, otherwise known as your DNA.
I love it. I love it so much. So it's $397 US. They can reach out to you to ask questions, get the link to sign up. And it's not a group program. It is one-on-one coaching and attention. And I can't believe you're doing it for that price personally, but I love you. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your journey, sharing your mission and your project together with us, and just for the insights around that rhythm. People need to understand that this wisdom is available to them, so that they can embrace more of that peace and flow.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Well, thank you for having us, Libby. I appreciate it. I appreciate this community so much. I know quite a few people in this community, but I'm hoping that there's some new people showing up too. And I'm just so grateful for your partnership and your friendship. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and likewise, thanks, Libby, Double L,
Absolutely.
for having me into your community as well. And to your community, reach out, follow me, like me, send me a friend request. This is all about building support and building a space of the high vibe tribe. And let's elevate the human condition. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody watching live and on the replay. Put your questions in, tag us. We are here for, for your support. So we will see you really soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
and my
you.
internet survived.
Yay!